The Minister for Education, Helen McEntee, has launched the largest ever survey of 826,000 primary school and preschool parents. The findings will inform future school planning and support more diverse school provision that reflects the values and needs of modern Ireland, the department said regarding the survey, which will assess the demand for different types of primary school provision, including patronage and ethos. This is the first time parents, guardians, teachers and board members across every primary school community in Ireland will have the opportunity to clearly express what kind of school they wish to see in their area. The Education Minister said of the survey, which runs from the 4th of November until the 16th of December 2025. The online survey asks a number of questions, including, would you prefer your primary school to operate under a denominational religious patron or to operate under a multi-denominational non-religious patron? One thing to note is that the divestment scheme for schools has encountered problems before. Back in 2023, it was revealed that 3 schools in Raheny were to stay under Catholic patronage after heated debate in the North Dublin community, and despite the lobbying of a local TD. The schools had participated in the Schools Reconfiguration for Diversity process, an initiative which had been launched by then Minister Norma Foley to provide more non-religious schools where there was a parental demand. After a pilot scheme that investigated local interest for divestment among parents, staff and boards of management, the Minister said that those schools in North Dublin were not amenable to nor potential candidates for transfer of patronage. In the end, a report concluded that there was actually not sufficient demand for a transfer of patronage, and a majority interest persisted for the schools to continue operating under Catholic patronage. That might come as surprising, but the experience across the country has in fact largely been that while the idea of non-denominational schools is popular in principle, many people are united on the idea that Ireland simply has too many Catholic schools and not enough which are directed completely by the state. When it comes to their own child's school, parents do not agree and often want religion in schools. In the majority of the places where the state has tried to move schools out of Catholic patronage, the parents of the children attending those schools decidedly did not agree. There are a number of reasons for that, one major one being increased opposition to the state's curriculum ideas. After all, it was the Catholic schools who were heavily involved in efforts to resist some of the more radical elements of the state's sex education proposals. Another point is that in the case of most Catholic schools, if you're a parent who wants to get involved in the oversight of your child's education, the Irish school system is a very good place to be. Since the schools are quasi-independent, they are constantly seeking parental involvement in the boards of management, parents, associations and so on. They are called Catholic schools, but in reality they are much more like true community schools. The reporting around the survey has been slammed by some, including Independent Senator Ronan Mullen, who described RTE's reporting as partisan, saying that it only presented one side of the argument. Banning any faith formation in schools is an attack on the faith and cultural tradition of the majority, the senator said. The reporter, Mullen said, quotes a child who says they were sad and ignores any voice for the selling points of faith-based education relating to social cohesion, Irish history, cultural identity, values and so on. We are all in the majority or in the minority in some way in our lives. There's nothing wrong with this if respect prevails, he said. The truth is that many ordinary people actually do not share the establishment's desire for a total separation from the schools from Catholicism. While mass attendance has fallen and most Irish people are no longer religious in the traditional sense, the proportion of people calling themselves Catholic in the census is still high. It is falling, but it is falling slowly. There remains huge demand for Catholic weddings and funerals, while communion and confirmation are still seen as important moments. People still like religion. Senior official at the Department of Education, Hubert Loftus, alluded to the lack of demand for more secular schools when he appeared before the Joint Oireachtas Committee for Education and Skills back in January 2023. Questioned by Green Senator Pauline O'Reilly as to whether the multi-denominational school target can be met through shifting schools already in the system. Given the poor progress so far, Mr Loftus admitted that the movement is a slow burner and that is not necessarily because of the department or even the church. He said that in other areas the engagement is likely to result in a view that there is not enough demand on the ground. What we are ultimately about is providing the opportunity for those communities to see whether they want to take this on board. There are many stakeholders involved, he said. Many times the government has asked parents to give up their Catholic schools, and parents keep saying no. It will be no surprise if the answer comes back negatively again.